Yeah, it's just like, man, look, hypocrisy baiting doesn't matter. Hypocrisy baiting doesn't matter at all, right? Because I think that battle lines are basically drawn. You know what I mean? It's just I don't think people care. I think everyone, I mean, it's a very normal, very human thing to just be hypocritical, to be a hypocrite. Everyone has it in their hearts. You have it too, chat. Nobody's like morally consistent in the way that they claim that they are. So the way I look at it is like, I don't really care necessarily about hypocrisy beyond its capacity to maybe change some of the people's minds or like open the door to a conversation. Right? But if that is your end all be all, you might be a little bit of a debate pervert. I care about actions and I care about reactions. I care about outcomes. If your actions are good, okay, if your intent is good, if your actions are good, if you are advocating for the right things, you know, I don't really care. I don't really care about the hypocrisy. And I don't think many people care either. That's precisely the reason why hypocrisy fishing, with the exception of leftist purity spirals, doesn't really exist in the right-wing world at all. Like you rarely, with the exception of like the Steven Crowder drama with Candace Owens and then the Steven Crowder drama with Ben Shapiro, you rarely ever, his chat is so vile to you and your community too during the whole event coverage. The problem with these kinds of things is that like, the more you go down the anti-woke pipeline, and I don't know if it's like genuine or if it's maybe a little bit motivated by your own subreddit, motivated by the reaction that the crowd is giving, which is ironic because a lot of people say that to me as well. They'll say like, I am victim or kidnapped by my own chat. Like, that's why I constantly take the positions that I take. I must not believe them personally. And it's funny because I yell at my community quite a bit. And because I yell at my community quite a bit, especially when they do like weird rad lib shit that I find to be wrecker behavior, for example, like I yell at my community all the time. I yell at them relentlessly when they engage in stuff, right? So I don't think I am audience captured at all in that regard. But my point is, sometimes you find yourself taking stances that you may not have taken a year ago or even a couple months ago because you're like, you get the warmness of like being in a community that's like advocating on your side unconditionally, fighting your battles. It's also like positively not Texas to just have this attitude. You know what I mean? I thought Texans don't call 911, you know? Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just like might is right politics, you know? That's where it stems from. You just got to do everything you can to explain to people that that is not how these things work. Right? Like, and I said this on January 6th as well, so you guys even can't catch me on this shit. Like, when January 6th was happening, I was shocked at the lack of police response because that was like definitely a valid moment because you had right-wing psychopaths like breaking in to a government building while there is literally a congressional proceeding occurring there with a deliberate attempt to like openly kidnap politicians and stuff, right? Like in that situation, that does warrant a police response. Like one of the few instances where like, hopefully there isn't like too much police violence, right? But that does warrant a police response. I don't think the UCLA peaceful encampments warrant a police response at all. And if anything, not last night, but the night prior, the counter protesters warranted a police response and cops actually didn't do shit. They basically waited for an hour and 30 minutes for the counter protesters who aren't even students to like literally try and blow up the encampments. And we watched it happen and they did too. And then the university turned around and used that chaos, that lack of interest in protecting their own students as a reason to why more violence must occur on these peaceful encampments. Now, violence in the hands of the state. How is that any different? To me, I feel like it's very obvious what's going on here. And I don't think that police reaction of this sort is ever warranted unless there's like literally a hostage situation going on. You know what I mean? Like, and even in that circumstance, like you probably shouldn't do this either, right? I personally think that it is vile. And also I can make an argument specifically on the boundaries of like right-wing Americans, on the boundaries that they could understand as well. The argument is pretty clear. The Los Angeles Police Department wastes approximately $3 to $8 million every single day. That's their operational budget. A lot of that money gets brought out to play in overtime in situations like the one that you saw. Every dime that they spend crack student skulls and violently arresting them for the crime of saying, I don't really like what Israel's doing, right? Every single dime could be spent on fixing potholes, could be spent on training these pieces of shit actually do detective work, because they don't really solve crimes at all. That's the other aspect of this. Many of you that live in big cities know how little the cops give a single shit about actual theft, okay? You will have your bike stolen, cops will look at you like, sucks to suck, big dog. They're massive. They're bold barbarian monsters when it comes to beating the shit out of homeless people, right? But they absolutely suck when it comes to dealing with literal crime. Hey, my car got stolen. Sorry, big dog. You're on your own. Figure it out. Let us know. File a report so you can claim it on your insurance. And that kind of stuff happens because we look to this moment and think that they're doing a good job here. They're not. When do you ever see the police come out in numbers like this and actually do something? Anything. When it comes down to like productive aspects of policing, like things that they're supposed to do. Remember when Myth had to steal his car back because the cops won't do anything? Yeah, I mean, it literally, that happened. That happened to friend of the show, Mythological. A friend of the show, Mythological, had his car stolen from outside his house. Called the cops. Cops were like, you're on your own, big dog. Luckily, he was able to find it. Told the cops he found it and that he was actually retrieving it himself so that they take it off the stolen list. Ludwig had to do the same thing. So cops don't do their jobs. They're overpaid. They're lazy as shit. They're such entitled assholes for the most part. And then beyond that, their budgets are ever expanding. And those budgets are actually taken away from shit that I like personally. You know, I want to be able to drive my car on a road that doesn't have potholes that are going to eat the tire. Okay? I pay European level taxes in the state. What do I have to show for it? No healthcare. Not that I need it personally. Luckily, I'm very fortunate, right? But like, I want others to be able to have it. Public education is dog shit. Roads are fast. Cops don't do their jobs, and they are the most expansive part of the budget. So I'm just basically paying money so that we can create weapons and ship it off to Israel, $26 billion at a time. And then if I turn around and say, hey, I don't like that, actually. What are we doing here? Hold on. We got to put an end to this nonsense, right? Let's get a little bit of healthcare going here. How about that? Maybe high-speed rail, maybe some public transit. Then the other local taxes that I'm funding, with the other local taxes, I'm funding a military full of the worst ding-dongs you've ever goddamn seen, ready to crack my skull and my fans and all of these wonderful people out there who are saying enough is enough. We got to put an end to this genocide. This makes no sense. The entire system is fundamentally broken. It sucks. It sucks. Instead of spending that much money on cops beating the shit out of homeless people, we could maybe take a percentage of that budget and actually build permanent shelter for homeless people in a shelter first, permanent shelter first, housing first initiative for homelessness. We would literally be able to at least tackle a significant aspect. We never do that. We just keep exacerbating the problem over and over again. It's like one of the most American things of all time, like guns, right? I love guns. I love shooting guns. Okay. You guys know this already, but I'm very much in favor of good gun control, okay? Universal background checks, multiple points of reference. No gun for you if you're suicidal. Sorry to all the vets out there, all right? You can't have it. Sorry to all the radlibs out there who are like, I'm a part of the Socialist Rifle Association. I believe that even though I have a prescription to lithium, I also think I should have a launcher. It's like, no, you can't. You can't. I'm ableist, okay? We need a gun registry, and you shouldn't be able to have a gun. You can shoot a gun every now and then with like very strict safeguards, but you can't have a gun at your house, okay? Why am I talking about this? Because America looks at the gun problem and goes, you know what will fix this problem that is caused by having too many guns? More guns. It's like looking at a wildfire and being like, well, you know what I got here? Matches and kerosene, baby. Let's go. Now, it's ironic because someone will say, Hasan, actually, sometimes you need to control fires by creating new fires. And I get that. I know, but that's not the point I'm making. Okay, shut the fuck. Right wing does seem to think that the solution to every problem is more of the same problem. Sigh. No, absolutely. That's right. That is precisely what the hell happens in this country. And that's why we're getting stupider and stupider and stupider. We're like going towards this scary place. I swear to God. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's sad to see.